Yo, Descendants, Augiesaint here, and welcome to the channel. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I want to welcome all the new and returning Descendants to the game, as there seems to be quite a fair amount of you guys now with the interest in the game going up, rising with obviously bikini skins, and now we actually have some kind of an in-game content to farm. That's pretty repetitive, but at least we do have something to actually do in the end game now. So this video is just going to kind of be the quick start, like help you guys out if you are very new and like you just started recently. I'm gonna give you guys some pointers and tips on what Descendants to focus on, mods, weapons, all that kind of stuff, as well as for returning players as well. If you're already in the game, what should be your primary focus? So there will be timestamps down below. Go check them out if you are looking for something more specific on like whatever topic I may be covering in the video. But without further ado, let's just hop straight into it. So I have my handy dandy document over here with a few pointers for all the new returning players, as well as the TFD Bible, which if you don't know, it's pretty much this Excel sheet or this Google Doc that we updated and we have made since TFD came out. And we update it as we go along. We add stuff to it, like there's all the mastery rank stuff here for newer players. How this all works is links to other parts of the document, as well as videos and stuff explaining. So check this out, very useful resource, especially for newer returning players. And then over this is EE and CC, that is energy activator and crystallized catalyst. Basically, if you played Warframe, that's like your potatoes and your formers, and this is just going to show you how to farm them because these are very important. But there is also updated ways to farm these now, so I will be working on updating this pretty soon. The video over there covering how that all works is right over there. I usually have a video in all these tabs showing you guys how everything works. So I'll have this link down below in the description. Come check it out. You guys will probably find it pretty useful. Void shard farming and stuff you want to do later on in the game as well. There's farming spots for all kinds of things, and what you could do in this farming spot, you just hit Control F and you can type in whatever it is you're looking for, like whatever specific resource, because later on or even early on you will be needing quite a few of these resources to go ahead and craft all the Descendants, the ultimate Descendants, and the weapons and everything like that. And then we have mission types. This is for later on once you get to farming stuff. These are the different types of missions in the game. We have ranked them from like the best to the worst mission, depending on mob spawns, how fast and easy they are to do. Because you will be farming quite a few missions later on in the game. Once you beat the campaign, you unlock hard mode, and you're going to be farming reactors, components, all kinds of stuff out in the world as well. So then you will need to know which missions is the best. We also have components and reactors. This is showing you all the stats that can roll on everything: auxiliary power, sensor, memory, processor, reactor. If it doesn't make sense to you yet, come back to this later on. That's why I'm just sharing this with you guys right now to show you it is all here. So once you actually understand what this is, you can come back and check it out. There's all the different stats for components, and this is pretty much your gear that you'll be getting in the game. Auxiliary power, like this is all your gear on the right side of your character. Moving on to fixed reactor spots. Now this is an important list to keep track of because you will be farming reactors quite often. When you get like a different build on different Descendants, they all need different kinds of reactors. They will have different attributes. As you can see, they're non-attribute tech. Reactors always come with 2 different attributes. And then these fixed spots means that won't rotate, because there is actually a rotating loot pool every week in the first Descendants, where some of these reactors will drop at different missions. That's again comes back into this mission types, why I suggested like what is a good mission to farm. Because if one week there's some good zone that's dropping this certain reactor, and you want it, you go to the zone and then you come back to this list and you see which one of these missions is the fastest, best one to run. And then you run that mission in the zone of the reactor that you are looking for. But again, that is much later down the line. Just letting you guys know all of it is here. We have best in slot reactor stats. Now these stats are based off of all of my Descendant builds, how I like to play them. Which you can find builds for all of these Descendants on my channel. If they're not there yet, I will be making them and updating them as well. As well as on the welcome part of the sheet, like the intro pretty much, I have updated all the builds. All the builds that I update and then I make new ones, I always put them there. You can see there is build Descendant videos, and then over here is weapon builds. So you want to come check these out. If you're looking for certain builds of weapons and Descendants, we'll always have them linked there. And as soon as we update ones or make new ones, we always come add them in and then overwrite the older ones. So it was the Ultimate Frainer, but I'll update it with the new one for Frainer and so forth. I always keep these updated for as long as we are playing TFD. So now that we've covered all the information available in the document there, let's actually go through some pointers. If you are a brand new player to TFD, you just started out pretty recently, the main thing you're going to want to be doing is going through the story. So each one of these zones will unlock, I believe Kingston was the first zone you get to. Like all these missions, you just have to clear them out, follow them along for the story. Will be pretty self-explanatory why you are going through it the first time. So you have to complete all of normal mode, so all of these missions, before you can unlock hard mode. And this is where most of the farming and like everything is going to happen. You don't really want to farm stuff in normal mode unless you're stuck and you just can't progress any further. Because how these zones work, you'll clear out all these missions, follow along with the story, the zone. Then once you've cleared out like the whole zone, so all of these little sub zones, you'll come across a void boss. So in this case, I'm going to show you guys normal mode. You'll start out with Gravewalker, and then each time you finish off one of the zones, so we can go back to the zones real quick. So you clean out all the missions there, you'll get to the void battle, you have to clear it, and then you move on to the next zone. I believe it was Sterile Lands. You go ahead, you clear out that zone, all of the missions, and then you get to another void again. Then the same thing, you go to Agna Desert. Like, you just go through all the zones like that, clearing all the missions. And then once you've cleared all the missions, you fight all of the different void intercept battles. So if you ever get stuck on any of these during the story, or you can't matchmake it or something like that, you should totally join the streams at twitch.tv/Augiesaint. As well as right here on YouTube, we are streaming 6 days a week. We can easily help you guys out. But you guys shouldn't really struggle with these. They're pretty easy, especially now they all have been nerfed into the ground. So they are fairly easy to go ahead and clear them. But that is how your progression is going to look. You're going to defeat these guys as you defeat zones. And then eventually you will unlock the hard mode of all of the zones. Basically, it's just every single mission on hard mode as well. If you are familiar with Warframe, it's the same as like Steel Path, basically. Although it's definitely nowhere near as hard as that initially. Just the void erosion stuff later on is quite challenging. But for now, that's all you need to know. When you start out, you just want to go through the story. You will get a bunny very early on as well, and she should be more than capable of carrying you through all of normal mode as well as through the Colossus until you get to hard mode, where you can actually start farming up different Descendants. You can start earlier, although I would highly recommend trying to get to hard mode, finishing the campaign before you actually start farming a bunch of stuff. But with that in mind, do not forget about modding your actual Descendants. To do that, all you have to do is come to your inventory. You see we have our inventory there. We have our bunny equipped. Come over to Descendant modules, and then make sure you are modding out your Descendants. Now, you won't have access to all these mods, especially the levels that I have them up as a newer player, because you have to level these up by using Kuiper and Gold, which you have to farm out throughout the game. But just early on, make sure you are leveling up modules, because they get much more powerful as you level them up, especially when you get to the later levels. It's better to actually level up 1 or 2 mods to like as high as you can get them over just trying to level up all your mods like a little bit at a time. So usually I would say focus on getting yourself this HP mod up as fast as possible, because the main cause of death is going to be not having enough HP. And then just with how powerful Bunny is, and also if you have a Thunder Cage weapon, which gets given to you through the story, which I'm going to explain to you guys as well pretty soon. Next topic is going to be what weapons to focus on. If you have that and the Bunny, you should easily be able to clear everything in front of you. So I would say get HP on your Bunny. And then stuff like skill expansion is going to increase the range of her abilities. Technician is going to increase the damage of her abilities. And then MP conversion, you might not actually have that early on, because this is like a positive negative mod. You don't really get those until a bit later. However, you should have nimble fingers pretty early on, because this is a blue early mod you can get with skill cooldown. And some skill cooldown on her will make it possible if you always have up the lightning emission skill on Bunny. So it's going to do like this AoE around you and just kill mobs all the time. That's why it's so good. Try and get yourself pretty much these 4 mods right here. If you have those maxed out like I do, you'll easily be able to clear everything in front of you. And you can always add on to it more defense. You can add on more damage, like a specialist over there, electric specialist. You might be able to get that pretty early. Just remember, you can't stack 2 of the same mods. Like this over there, for example, has attack. I can't actually put another one on. For example, this one is singular specialist, which is Bunny's damage. I can't put that on too, because they are both attack mods. However, I can put a battle mod on, because that is a different type of mod. So you go ahead and place that. That battle mod now is going to give me even more electrical skill power. And then if you match it with the slot over there, so we go ahead and place it on top, it's going to reduce how much it actually costs. As you see there, it costs 16 to put it on a slot that doesn't match it. And then if we put it into the slot over here where it does match, now the capacity goes down to 8. And how the capacity works, if you have a look at the top right screen here, I will also have more capacity than what you would have early on. But basically, I'm just explaining to you quickly how this works. Is the capacity there, you can fill this up until you run out of capacity. So let's see, this one is 16. I can go ahead and place it. And now we're at 77. I wouldn't be able to place another mod because we do not have capacity. See, insufficient capacity. And then later on in the game, you'll get these things called crystallization catalysts. Then you click those on the slot. And you can choose what kind of polarity, what you want to put there. And then if it matches like you saw before, it's going to reduce the cost of this mod by half. And then in that case, it's going to bring the overall module capacity down. So you can actually go ahead and put some more mods on. This is the main source of getting power on your Descendants, is how you actually set up their builds, as well as leveling up these modules. Don't forget to level them up. All of that should be explained to you throughout the story, and you'll unlock how to unlock them and everything pretty early on. And then one thing that I want to mention is when you do boss fights on your Bunny, because like I said, Bunny should be able to carry you through all of normal mode. when you go and do your boss fight, you can change up your build. You see you have presets at the top here, so you can actually jump over to a different preset. And then this one, for example, I just put straight up defensive mods on here. We put increased defense, we put increased HP, agony, which is another mod you probably won't have, but I just put it on as an example. Gives you defense as well. HP amplification is another mod that gives you max MP. You do lose some shield, but shield is actually very bad in the game, so don't worry about losing shield. You'll gain HP, and the more HP, just know that HP is the best defensive stat in the game, even more than defense. So just remember HP number 1, defense number 2, and then shield. Unless it's a very specific build with a very specific descendant, shield is generally just pretty bad overall. And then something like this, spear and shield for even more defense. So this will make you extremely tanky. You should be able to face tank all of the normal mode bosses with just these few mods equipped. Even with just those 2 mods equipped, increased defense and increased HP will make you very, very tanky, so you won't actually go down in the fight. And if you are fighting a Colossus, you like the zone bosses, then you're going to be basically using your gun to shoot the Colossus. You shouldn't be using Bunny's skills, because those skills won't be doing all that much damage against him. So that's why you just use yourself as like a guns platform, make yourself defensive, make yourself tanky, and then what you want to do is focus on the build on your weapon, because that's going to be the important part as to how you go ahead and kill bosses. Let me show you guys, for example, the Thunder Cage, which everybody is going to get pretty early on. I believe you get 2 copies of these early on throughout the quest, and what the extra copy for is, you see those 4 little things over there. Each time you can like infuse a weapon with the same weapon, it makes it a little bit stronger. It has a unique effect. The Thunder Cage has an explosion that procs kind of like Firefly from Destiny, if you remember what that perk is, if you are a Destiny player. But anyway, back to modding, how this all works. So your weapon is actually what you're going to be using to kill most of these void bosses. And then this, you can see this is a full build. This is a very powerful build. You won't get to this stage until much later on in the game. You can see our DPS is quite high. But basically, the most important mods you want to focus on leveling up early on as a newer player, I would say would be Rifle Reinforcement, the Firearm Attack, as well as Fire Rate Up. All of these mods you should be easily obtainable for you as a newer player. Fired Up is going to give you that increased fire rate. You want to get Expand Weapon Charge to increase your magazine size, better insight, better concentration just for critical chance and critical damage, because this weapon is a pretty good crit weapon. And then another thing you want to do is match your element. You see that we have Electric Element. Some of the void bosses are actually weak to certain elements. All of these mods should be pretty easily obtainable, as they are all blue mods. That's why I'm not showing you guys any of the purple or the orange mods yet, because you won't have access to them until much later on, basically until you get to hard mode. And then the element that I spoke about, you can also check the element of the bosses. If you go to when you fight them, you can see the attribute resistances. He is very weak to chill, which you'll come to learn that is chill, that is fire, that is electric, and then that is toxic. You can go and check all of the bosses. Stunning Beauty, which will be the next boss, is actually very strong against electric, so she won't take much damage from that, but she is very weak to toxic. So when you do fight her, make sure you put a toxic mod on your Thunder Cage or whatever weapon you may be using at the time. Try and equip yourself something that matches the element. Even if it's not leveled up, if it's at rank 1, the mod will still give you quite a bit of extra damage, because matching the weakness or like the attribute weakness does help you quite a lot. So as a completely new player, that is what you want to focus on. Clearing out the zones. You want to get your bunny leveled up and geared up, or built up, I mean. You want to level up her mods. Make sure you are leveling up your mods. I do have starter builds on my channel as well, so go check them out on the YouTube channel for Bunny, for all the weapons and all the Descendants. And then you also want to make sure you are leveling up your Thunder Cage by leveling up those mods I mentioned to you guys. As you can see, there's quite a lot of Descendants. I have built pretty much every single Descendant in the game. We do have builds on all of them as well. And then if we come have a look at the best weapons to focus on once you are in hard mode, I have a list of here for you guys. The Perforator, the Greg's Reversed Fate, Enduring Legacy, Voltier, Albion Cavalry, Secret Garden, and Last Dagger. All very solid weapons for you guys to go ahead and build up, because it's going to be pretty costly to start building a bunch of different weapons. That's why I say you should totally focus on building up one weapon first. If you are just going through the story, I would highly suggest building up your Thunder Cage, because your Thunder Cage is going to help you with a lot of content, as well as either picking a Smithereens or an Executor, which are both different kinds of shotguns. They have been buffed and reworked recently, and they are pretty powerful. I could highly recommend those as well. You could use them against the bosses instead of the Thunder Cage. You could use the Thunder Cage as like a mobbing weapon if you're not going to be using the bunny. So those are weapons that I would suggest over there. And then the top 5 best weapons for everybody build right now for doing the endgame activity. This is complete endgame. This is our endgame activity right now. It is called Void Erosion, and you can only get to it once you reach Mastery rank 18. So you should be quite deep into the game by the time you actually need any of these. But again, we can see some of them actually overlap with some of the ones I mentioned before. So we have a look. Perforator again, Albion Cavalry is a pretty solid machine gun, Smithereens, Executor, both of the shotguns I mentioned before, and then Restored Relic and Last Dagger. These are all like the meta weapons currently for the current endgame activity. And if you move on down to the best Descendants for the current Void Erosion, which is again the endgame activity, we have Glay, Haley, Enzo, Lepic, and Sharon, which is the most used Descendants right now. Glay obviously being the best, and then Haley, these are DPS. Enzo and Lepic you play as a support. And then Sharon you kind of play as a DPS as well. And I have a few pointers down below, weapons to get for Master Rank. This is just from normal mode missions, so you don't have to actually go and farm them up through amorphous materials, which is something you'll understand a little bit later. Is the Last Dagger, Divine Punishment. These are purely just for Master Rank, because you guys might actually come to a point where you beat hard mode, and now you're looking at ways to upgrade your Master Rank. And the only way you can get Master Rank is by leveling up different weapons and different Descendants. The very first time you get a Descendant or a weapon to level 40, which is the maximum, you will get all of the Master Rank for them. And if you go ahead and catalyze them, which resets their level to apply that socket like I showed you guys before with the modding, then you will not get extra XP for the same Descendant or weapon. Only the very first time they reach level 40, the maximum level. But then moving on, we have a couple of weapons over here that I believe are now from a quest line. That's why I have marked it there. Might have been an event question mark, because I had completed these quest lines already. I'm not sure if they were time quest lines, but there is quite a few weapons you can get from them. I looked in game and it said that that is how you obtain them, so I believe that is currently how you still obtain them. I've looked there: Greg's Reverse Fate, Restored Relic, Nazir's Devotion, Executioner, Albion Cavalry, and the Fallen Hope. All of them are pretty decent weapons, minus really the Fallen Hope is not the greatest, but the Albion Cavalry and the Executor are pretty good meta weapons. As you can see, they are up there in the best endgame activity weapon list. So those I would try and get the quest for them done as soon as possible, so you can get those weapons and start using them, as they are very powerful. And then after completing the story, you should focus on reaching Master Rank 18, so you can unlock the Fellow, which is the dog that will follow you around, and he'll pick up stuff, auto loot for you, as well as auto dismantle. And then Ines Rias, the Descendant I told you guys about before, is the best mobbing Descendant in the game. So you definitely want to try and unlock her. So once you beat the story and you can actually start getting yourself up to Master Rank 18, you unlock some different activities. How you're going to get the Fellow and Ines Rias, I'll run over there and I'll show you guys real quick. This is Albion, the main city where you guys will be from. You always spawn in at the back there. But this right here, this activity is how you actually get Fellow and Ines. It is called the Void Vessel operation. You want to run the Void Vessel on hard. Once you can do that, obviously you can matchmake it as well if you're not powerful enough to do it at yourself. This is only once you get to Master Rank 18, because this is locked behind Master Rank 18. So once you get to Master Rank 18, go ahead and farm up Ines and the Doggo, which both of them can be found in hard mode, which both of them you can find which can be found from this Void Vessel activity. So that's what you want to go ahead and do. However, if you do want to spend money on the game after playing it for like a few days, maybe a new player, and you feel like you want to spend some money, the best thing you could buy in the game for any new player right now, even a returning player if you don't have it yet, would be Ines Rias, the character right behind me. As you can see, she has two massive reasons why you should buy her, but never mind that. She has the best kit in the game for speed farming and mob clearing AoE. She basically does what Bunny does, but better. Way, way, way better. She's extremely powerful. And she's not actually that expensive. We come into the shop, we're going to have a look at Descendants. I actually own her, so that won't show me the price. But she does usually cost 900 caliber, which is the premium currency. We're going to have a look at premium currency. To get at least 900, you would have to buy the $20 pack, so USD $20. So $20, and then you will get Ines Rias, which is very, very, very good Descendant. So if you want to spend some money on, that is the best value for your money you could get, I would say. And then there's also the Fellow, which is the little doggo, which is going to auto loot and auto dismantle stuff for you. If you want to pick him up, I believe he's pretty cheap. Like, this is a bundle. We actually get a bunch of stuff with him. I have this one, so I can actually see the prices are reduced. But these do include the doggo as well. If you just want to get the straight up doggo, is there. I can't actually see the price because I do own it, but I think it might be about 500 caliber or something like that. So very inexpensive as well. Other than that, I wouldn't really recommend buying anything else like catalysts and those kind of things. They're very, very expensive. But if you do want to spend a little bit of money, if you are enjoying the game and you want to like fast track your progress, I could highly suggest buying the doggo and then obviously buying Ines Rias, because she will carry you through the game extremely fast. She can even do all of the hard mode bosses. She won't one phase all of them, but she'll do all of them in under a minute, which is extremely powerful once you get into the endgame bosses and stuff. Obviously, there is better options, but she is the undoubted best Descendant right now, in my opinion, for just, you know, playing the game outside of Void Erosion, which is the current endgame activity, which you won't unlock at least until Master Rank 18, the same as with the Void Vessel. But that is why I suggest, if you want to spend some money, spend it on Ines Raya. She will return everything back to you, and also skips the whole part of farming her up, as well as getting to Master Rank 18. So for the fastest start as a new player, just straight up buy her as your first thing. Play the game a little bit, see if you enjoy it. Obviously, it is a free-to-play game. If you do enjoy it, you want to support the game a little bit, pick yourself up in Israel. You will fly through the rest of the game. So this is a pretty lengthy video. I think I'm going to end it there. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Ask them down below in the comments down below. Join the Discord as well. We have an active Discord of players there playing every single day. We are streaming 6 days a week as well. So join the chat if you need help or just want to ask questions, anything like that. I would love to see all your beautiful faces there. But most importantly, welcome to TFD, and thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please drop a like and sub on the channel. It helps me out so much. And I'll catch you beautiful people in the next video, as well as the live streams. Augiesaint out.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the